Hello and welcome to this week's Water Report with me, Carel. Hello and welcome back to this week's Water Report, where we discuss anything and everything regarding Newcastle's water reticulation system that we could find from main sources or social sources or what we can see on the field. We try and get everything and put it together in this video. So going into the headlines, on Wednesday the 18th of February, there was a water supply issue affecting Avery Hill, and also I'm staying in Hutton Heights. I was also affected from a burst pipe on the corner of Victoria and Pickavane. As I say, I was also affected, but I knew it was coming, so I had made a plan beforehand. When I had to replace my pool pump just a while ago, I added a T-piece to the outlet of the pump, connecting with a hose pipe to an outside tap, and I could close the main valves and have that pool water feed into my house, just to be able to flush the toilets, at least have water running even with low pressure. I'm saying this, maybe you have a pool lying around and you want to try the same thing. It's definitely a short-term issue, but I knew water problems were coming, and I do not have the means for a borehole currently. Maybe you do, but trying to achieve water independence is getting ever more a necessity, other than relying on the state to look after you. But that also, carrying on Wednesday the 18th of February, also there was an anonymous complaint from a Newcastle resident regarding a burst pipe in Milky Way. Now this is quite interesting. There was no reports on this from the municipality at all, and there were 2 references logged by this. So we have the references numbers 261835 reported at 2:15. So it was reported, and that video that we found on the socials was showing massive amounts of water being lost there. And only late morning, around 9 o'clock the next day, a lone TLB arrived to start working on this, but still no report. And why I'm mentioning this is because last week's report we mentioned we had a very good week because Newcastle didn't have much issues. There was that one incident reported, and we were quite chuffed about that. But now, with things not being reported, which would be easy to share, even with the municipality being very active on their socials between expos and weather warnings and council meetings and so on, it's very active there. That wasn't reported, and also a massive leak on a reservoir line was also not reported on. And with last week's report, our assumption last week that the reservoir levels were low was that the water plant wasn't feeding enough water, but this seems like it must have come from that leak. Also, we are unsure. We can only speculate with quite a lot of information, but definitely not all the information. But either or, whether it's from a massive leak that's wasting a lot of treated water and whether the water treatment plant cannot keep up, we actually believe it's a combination of the two, which is having reservoir levels so low and people without water so often. So it's sad to see that the municipality isn't as active as they were, because we were just praising them the other day for their very good communication and also communicating prior to any problems. So people can make plans ahead of time and be proactive, but it seems like it's going a bit backwards. And with that also, the last report we had from them was on a feed line going from the abstraction point at Chelmsford to the treatment plant. And I was so excited because this is a massive pipe, so it's going to be a massive operation. I was in the car, I was driving all the way from the dam. I was following gravel roads through farms, through rural areas, terrible roads, up hills, down. It was through streams. It was quite a ride. I enjoyed it. But I was looking for this because I know it's a big, massive operation. It's not going to be 2 people in a Hilux. It would be quite easy to spot. But from 2 hours of searching, I couldn't find a hint of it all the way to the treatment plant. It was sad to me. I thought if I'd find them, I'll definitely buy a crate of ice cold Cokes, because they were working in quite a hot day while I was driving in my aircon car, but to no avail. But there's also been no reporting on this. and it's quite sad for us to see, but nonetheless, just before I filmed this, I did see a report come through from a burst pipe and on the corner of Erika and Drakensberg, so that's at least reported. If you know of anything, throw us a message, put it on the socials, not to hurt anybody, just so we can know, so we can inform the community, so we can make informed decisions. An informed community is an empowered community. We always go back to that. Anyway, what INTEGRIPURE has been busy with in the last week, we've been quite busy with borehole water analysis. No installations as yet, but it was quite funny to have 3 borehole tests coming back with high iron and definitely elevated bacteria, which is never a good combination because that just clogs everything and anything if you don't know what you're doing. Luckily we've been around the block, but it was interesting. It wasn't in an isolated area. The one was in Hilldrop. The other one was in Fernwood, and I just can't recall where the third one was. But 3 tests in 1 or 2 weeks of high iron levels. It was quite interesting to see, but we can definitely treat that because high iron in water doesn't only stain your products or your sandware, but it also aggravates bacteria, and it's a bit of a mess in your house, but also it brings the turbidity of the water way up, the clarity of the water. But anyway, as I say, we've been around the block, we can handle it, and so we will for the next week or so. Also, the technicians here have been quite busy with installing the drinking water systems in your house because of the special we're running, 2,800 Rand, Gonke, everything included. That's 2,800 Rand. It includes the filter, the faucet, the installation, VAT, everything. And no, we're not skimping on water quality. Giving you safe, healthy drinking water is so important to us, really. So we will not skimp on the water quality you're getting from your tap. You and your family deserve to feel safe while drinking water. But that's I have to mention that it's the last week of that special running, as February ends, the financial year ends. There's a few changes coming, and the price will definitely go up after that. But that's all from me here at INTEGRIPURE, here at 38 Victoria Road. We hope you stay safe, and as I say, always say, if this video brings value to you, please share it on the socials, share it with a friend. Maybe if you have a buddy with a pool who is constantly without water, maybe share it with him so he can make a short-term plan before he gets his borehole that we can filter for him, of course. If you see also any other leaks, drop it in, that's not reported, drop it in our comments, drop it on our socials. We'd love to know, because we can't do this alone. We need you, Newcastle. Anyway, that's enough from me. See you next week. Cheers.